Welcome to the Catbird Quilts. I'm Kathy Martin, and every morning when I wake up, I need a little coffee to get rolling, or a lot of coffee. And I usually just stare into space while the coffee's brewing, or I kind of mindlessly scroll through social media. But today, I'm going to reclaim that time and wind some bobbins. So I've boiled my water for my coffee, and my coffee is brewing, and I have 4 minutes. And so I'm gonna start my timer and use this time to wind some bobbins. This weekend, I am off from my full-time job, which is retail pharmacist. And I'm excited because I have some actual real time to devote to sewing and quilting. And I don't know about you, but I hate to take my precious actual sewing time and use it for things like changing needles and winding bobbins. It just feels like I finally have the time to sew. I want to actually sew. I don't want to prep for sewing. I just want to sew. So I'm just going to wind some bobbins now, so that way I'm ready. And I'm gonna do some chain piecing this weekend and also some actual quilting. And so I'm gonna wind two bobbins with white thread for my chain piecing, and then I'm gonna wind a whole separate bobbin with the colored thread that I'm gonna use on the back of a quilt. And so that's one, and that was not even a full minute, so that's kind of crazy. Actually, it probably was a full minute. But I'm gonna go ahead and do another one. I have recently lost several rounds of bobbin chicken. Have you played bobbin chicken before? Where you only have a little bit of thread left on your bobbin and you're trying to make it last and you run out before you get to the end of your row. Oh, it's the worst. And usually, I don't know about you, but I don't usually realize until I'm all the way to the end of a row and I've sewn 3 feet a row with no bobbin on it. So there's something to be said for just doing this prep work while you have the chance. It's so much more rewarding than being on Instagram or Facebook. Some people can check email in the morning when they wake up. I'm not awake enough. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna say or reply in email. All right, so that's 2 of the 3. I've got 1 minute left. I'm gonna switch out. I also, not just like while I'm making coffee, but I like the idea of kind of taking back these small moments of time. Well, if I could get the thing threaded. I didn't have dedicated sewing space for many, many years. And this sewing space is actually right off our kitchen. Our kitchen is right there. So it's right near where I make my coffee. But for many years, I had my sewing machine on our dining room table, and I would have to get it out and put it away when we needed to use our dining room table. And this is one of those things where before you put your sewing machine away, like before you have dinner, or if you have it on the desk or whatever, you can go in and wind a bobbin or 2 or 3 or however many you have before you put your sewing machine away. So when you have that Saturday or Sunday or afternoon that you can sew, if you have wound bobbins before you put your sewing machine away, then it's already ready to go. Oh, look at that. 15 seconds to spare. So I have my quilting bobbin. I have my 2 bobbins with white thread in them, ready to do my piecing. And there it is. That's an annoying, I need to change that alarm. That is so annoying. So I'm gonna go make coffee, and then I'm gonna come back, because while I have this here, I'm gonna go in and change my needle. So I'm gonna go in here, make coffee, and then I'm gonna come back. Oh, sorry. With coffee now. Coffee. All right, so since I'm gonna be rethreading my machine, and now that I have coffee, which is the best, or tea for our UK viewers, if this is tea, not coffee. I can't remember the last time that I changed my needle. And if you can't remember the last time that you changed your needle, it's probably time to change your needle. So while I'm just sitting here with this cup of coffee, this is also somewhat mindless, and I don't have my thread run through my needle. So it's kind of a good time. And this is more than my, 4-minute coffee brewing. But honestly, what am I gonna do? Go take my coffee and look at social media? Or maybe check my email once I get a little more awake. But my machine, the threading is a little bit involved, but it's not hard, and I've done it now so much I don't have to think much about it. So I feel like it is just a great time to go on and capitalize. Oh, ding! That was such a pleasant little noise. Oh, mercy. It's the little things, Well, that should not be that difficult. Maybe I'm not awake. Maybe I'm not as awake as I thought I was. And this is why I hate doing this when I'm in the middle of a project, because of this exact thing right here. Like, that time is so precious when you don't have all the time in the world to devote to it. So, like, if I was actually in my tomorrow afternoon, like looking ahead, if I was in my tomorrow afternoon and I'm sewing along and then I ran out of bobbin, or I realized I needed to change my needle, I resent, which probably tells you a lot about me, but I resent having to stop and do this sort of task. And so that's why I'm gonna go ahead and do this now. And now I have threaded my needle, put a new needle on. Oop. Oop. For those of you Midwesterners, oop. And that's done. And now I am all set to go. And I have full bobbins waiting for me. My machine has been rethreaded, new needle. All I have to do tomorrow afternoon is just sit down and sew and enjoy these few minutes that I've taken to get myself ready. So if you're a part-time quilter too, I encourage you, just like me, take those little bits of time and make a dent. Thanks for watching. I'm Kathy Martin, and this is the Catbird Quilts.